831-0864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
It's time for Tip-Off Tuesday.
They're really good people, and the chemistry's great, very coachable, they work hard.
Shelstad left wing three. Yes, sir! What a catch and a finish, plus the foul.
The guys are playing hard, and guys found a way, so it's a big part of any season, just fighting away.
Pass underneath to Cousinard, he's fouled and one.
Gray wants another three, are you kidding?
So let's go have some fun. Let's play loose and see what happens.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Let's talk Oregon Duck basketball. From the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and both teams are at home this week. Love to see that. Oregon men's basketball against Arizona State on Thursday at 6 o'clock, Saturday 2:30 against Arizona. Those are the two teams that are tied with the Ducks atop the Pac-12 standings on the men's side. Now, they're coming off a couple losses, the Ducks are. They were alone in first place heading into last weekend, but dropped a game to Colorado and a bit of a heartbreaker to Utah. Meanwhile, on the women's side, Ducks trying to bounce back at home after a successful homestand, but then a less than ideal road trip. Stanford got them, and Cal got them over the weekend, but a chance to bounce back against a Utah team that is one of the best in the country. Coming up at 7 o'clock on Friday, Oregon women's basketball with Chris Clayton on the call along with Bev Smith, a 6:30 pregame from Matthew Knight Arena Friday night. And then Oregon women's basketball also in action against Colorado at noon on Sunday. The mountain schools are in town for Oregon women's basketball, and for men's basketball, the Arizona schools are here this weekend. Look, for men's basketball, they control their own destiny to a Pac-12 title. Nice to be saying that after the first few weeks of the season. A lot of basketball left, but a tremendous opportunity against Arizona State and Arizona. And then for the Oregon women, I think they've had some ups and downs, but being at home, that should be an up. Looking forward to it this week. All 4 days of the weekend. I say 4 days of the weekend. Thursday is part of the weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got basketball at Matthew Knight Arena. Hope to see all of you there. Going to get to know Sofia Bell on the women's team today. A Oregon legacy. That Bell last name, it should ring a bell for you. An Oregon legacy. We'll talk about that with Chris Clayton coming up and Sofia Bell. Also, I sat down with Brennan Rigsby, and we're talking with Mike Mennenga, Oregon assistant coach, as well as Oregon women's coach Kelly Graves. A lot of interviews today. So, a quick timeout. When we come back, Mike Mennenga joins us, assistant coach for the Ducks. Even though his Bills lost, he was kind enough to join us in the studio here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Pepsi Zero Sugar has taken its flavor to the next level. A Zero Sugar Cola has never tasted this good, but we don't expect you to take our word for it, so we're putting it to the test, starting with me. Cue the fireworks. We have an official best Zero Sugar ever. It's delicious, it's refreshing, and it's so good you'll need to try it for yourself. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Zero never tasted so good. That's what I like.
Pepsi is proudly distributed by locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays? The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Tip Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. We're in the Country Financial Studio. Mike Mennenga is here, folks.
Let's go, Ducks.
You know, I have to tell you, so this was not intentional. Last year, I scheduled Coach Mennenga after a rough road weekend. That was the first time that we heard from Coach. And also last year, it was when the Bills had not been
here we go.
successful. And then I asked Coach, okay, this is a true story. Coach was going to come on the show last week. Then the great freeze of 2024 took place, so we couldn't do a
we
Tip
had Buffalo
Tuesday.
in Eugene.
That's right, Buffalo. Yeah, you're one of the few that's really equipped.
I was
for
in
this
my
weather.
environment, man.
Yeah,
Let's go.
This is your element. So
I kind of thought the chips are coming together. Everything's coming together for the Bills.
So I was thinking, like, okay, this will be great. Like, it's going to be before the mountain road trip this year. It's before a big Bills playoff game. Then we defer a week. And, Coach, I'm sorry that we're doing that to you. It just works out that way. Thanks for doing it anyway.
I've been taking some blows this week, man. It's been some tough hits. You know what I mean? So, like I alluded to you before, so we're coming back from the Utah game, and the fellas know I'm a big Bills Mafia guy. So, I'm DVRing the game, and nobody has the heart to call me to tell me what's happening. You know what I mean? So I caught that demise, about 3 hours after we got back.
But to you, it was live. Like
to me, it was live. No, I'm slow motioning plays that already have happened that I don't know the outcome to, and I'm seeing the developments, particularly on that field goal. Just like, oh man. So obviously, wide right, wide left is a big part of Buffalo lore.
Yeah, unfortunately. I got to tell you, so this is true. I'm very impressed by your ability to go radio silence. Like airplane mode on the phone. Like, yeah, when you're in the air. But, Coach, you had to be radio silence for, like, hours. I mean, I get after a loss, like, you need some digestion time in general, but –
there's a little digestion time. I was more impressed with the fellas in our basketball family because they know I'm a Bills Mafia guy, and nobody was just like, you know what I mean? Give me the heads up.
But I'm impressed with you, Coach. Like, that's hard to do in today's generation.
In my world, it is. But I tell you, like, unfortunately, the tough hit that we took there with Utah kind of boded well for some, digestion time. And I was hoping maybe to get a little silver lining with my Bills, but just didn't go down.
But you bounce back. Ducks are going to bounce back at home.
Yes, we are. Let's go.
These are big games, and so I like to go chronologically first, Coach. Just break it down for fans. Colorado's been a tough place. We know that. Utah, I still am going to have nightmares about that layup that I feel like would have gone in 90% of the time. I just break it down for fans. What'd you see this weekend?
Offensively, we like where we're at. Offensively, we got good players. We're shooting the ball well. We're moving the ball well. Obviously, we can get better in all aspects. Big coach Altman piece is just like we got to be better in December than we were in November. We got to be better in January than we were in December, and so on and so on. So we can't plateau. We can't stay in the same space. So offensively, we like where we're at, but defensively, just can't keep giving up points. So we're at a crossroads as a team defensively and finding an identity of who we are and how we want to play and identify ourselves. One disturbing component is that we're 8 teams that beat us are 80 points or better, you know what I mean? And something that's not been defining us at all the teams that we've had.
Yeah.
So this group is talented. They're together. And obviously we've been going through an evolution and a regeneration of the team and losing guys, adding guys. And we're going to continue to evolve as a group. But this week is such a huge week. So it comes down to if this week of Colorado, Utah, those losses propel us to being a little bit more grittier, a little bit more focused, and being a little bit better communication with each other. And we go on a big run, then that adversity essentially was worth us our growth.
Well, to put that in context, so there are 3 teams that are 5-2 in the Pac-12 right now, right? Arizona, Arizona State, the 2 opponents this week for the Ducks on Thursday and Saturday, and then Oregon sitting at 5-2. The Ducks still controlling destiny, so that's a big week coming up. You alluded to something there, Coach, that's interesting. Like, if you had the perfect answer, I wouldn't be even asking you this question, but you talk about a team in Utah that's scoring over 80 points a game at home. You had them on pace to score, 64 at halftime.
Right.
Then the second half, it was much more offensive. Was there a difference that you saw from the bench and looking at the film and defensively for you guys against the Utes?
One of the elements of basketball is teams traditionally defend better and essentially sometimes in that first half because the bench is right in front of them, especially early in the season.
Yeah.
And every team, I think, goes through a cross when they go to the other side. We're not doing the talking for them.
Right.
You got to almost take ownership. And we're at that crossroads now where the team has to take ownership over who they are. Who do we want to be? And that's a challenge that we've posed on the players and on ourselves, is helping them. And I've always said this a few times long. If you go back to our Final Four, Elite Eight, Sweet 16s, our Pac-12 championship teams, it's funny, like October, November, December, you're coaching every play, you're every little action, there's a correction or you're talking to them. But then you start getting into January, February, March, and those teams start saying, I got you, coach.
Right.
I got you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, turn me into a cheerleader. Turn me into a positive energy guy. Don't have to coach every play. There's ownership that needs to start happening, and that's the crossroads where we're at.
You bring up such an interesting point, though. Like we can all go so deep into X's and O's, but sometimes it's as simple as, are you playing offense or defense in front of your own bench?
Sometimes it comes down to that. There's an old saying, it's cliche, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jims and Joes.
Yeah.
And I think that plays in more, when you're chasing championships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're just happy with winning, 20 games and settling into the middle of the pack and everything like that, but if you're truly chasing that level of championship performance, it's no doubt the players have to feel it and buy into each other and take ownership of what's going on.
Yeah.
The coach can't coach every play.
Right. Mike Mennenga joining us. So you talked a little bit about the adjustment and the evolution of this team. I've been talking about that on the broadcast. To me, this team has had 4 different identities because of player availability. I mean, now I should say this year's been tough on the big men, but last year was similar with the guards. Jermaine Couisnard would have just been 2 games into his season a year ago.
Missed 18 games. I mean, obviously Brennan was out with ankle injuries. Obviously having him around and available, has been great this year. It affected our perimeter shooting. As you can see this year with our shooting, we were hovering around 40% as a team.
Right.
So again, offensively, we're really happy. Kind of our progress. We have to continue to get better, but no doubt, mixing in guys, moving in guys, especially whether if he's an All-American caliber player like Dante. You still have to adjust. Right now, everybody wants to watch Dante when he catches the ball. Right. Essentially, Dante had 6 assists this last game. You know what I mean? So you dump it into Dante, you got to be on the move, and he's going to find you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to learn how to play a little bit more inside out with Dante, and that's going to come. You know what I mean? Dante's been awesome. You know what I mean? He's not to get overly emotional, you know what I mean, but that kid's been through so much adversity, whether it's in his basketball career and his family life, and he loves being a Duck. You know what I mean? This is his home. You know what I mean? He bleeds green and yellow, and to see him go from a young kid doing all that stuff to now all of a sudden he's a leader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to mention, English is not his first language. You know what I mean? He's leading, and he is the epitome of what I was just talking about before. As a coach, why do I love to coach personally is I love taking kids that have talent and evolve them where they take ownership, path to ownership. And Dante is certainly owning his position individually as his game, but who he is as a leader and a voice in our locker room.
Yeah, it was great to have him back. I mean, from the broadcaster's standpoint, when I get to yell Dante dunk, That's a good thing, right? Like, it was great to have Dante back. And you touched on it a little bit, Coach, like just how you work guys back in, because this team has gone through that, and now you got a little time to do that before some big games. Imagine that there's going to be some adjustments that go on in practice this week.
I mean, we're tweaking as we speak. You know what I mean? I think it's no secret that Nate Biddle is, we got positive news on him a few weeks ago, so he's on the comeback of getting himself back in shape, and you don't know where it's going to be at or he's going to fit in at yet. But, to your point, we still got another piece, right there, So it's nice to add a guy like that instead of like a 6-foot guy like me, or something like that, you know what I mean? So Nate's going to really, when he comes back, that length is going to help us defensively, you know what I mean? And then everything he does for us offensively will be bonus. But, so to your point, we're still doing it, So, but I wouldn't rather have no other head coach in America in this position than Coach Altman. He's the best when it comes to mixing and matching guys and figuring out ways to win. I mean, when we were without Dante and Nate, and not to mention Mookie as well, who was a high school McDonald's All-American, not too many teams could lose those type of caliber players and still maintain the standard. And that's something that Coach takes a lot of pride in instilling to our locker room, is just like, you're the Oregon Ducks. We've built something here. You know what I mean? Don't matter who's available, we have to hold that standard.
Well, I just got to tell you, there's a phrase about Rubik's Cubes that goes on about Coach Altman, and I happen to have one. I've never actually given it to Coach, like messed up and said, Coach, could you just solve that for me? I feel like he could.
I think he probably could. I think if you give him a little time, he really dialed in. I think Coach Altman would 100% solve the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, was not a Rubik's Cube. I was the sticker guy.
Yeah, move the stickers around.
Hey, look what just happened.
That's funny. Yeah, I keep this just as a reminder for everybody that you never know what happens come March. There seems to always be a Rubik's Cube that lines up. In any case, big games coming up. Final question for you, Coach. Arizona State, 6 o'clock on Thursday, and then Arizona, 2:30 on Saturday. Big games.
Huge
no
games.
doubt about it.
Huge games. I mean, I guess the silver lining coming out of all this, the Utah game was just opportunity lost. It could have created some separation there in the Pac-12 race, but, the way I look at it now is just like there's not one team in the Pac-12 that would not want to switch places with us. We're tied for first, and we have the two teams that are tied with at home this week. Right. So, Duck fans, we need you there. We need that juice. You know what I mean? We need that energy. There's no doubt about it. We need, instead of Bills Mafia, we need Duck Mafia.
I like it. I like it. That's great. Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time. I know that a big crowd could really make a huge difference.
Man,
and
love it.
I'll just keep this on the desk. We'll just keep that Rubik's Cube ready. I feel like that Nate Biddle sticker, you got to stick that back on there here pretty soon.
It's coming. It's coming. We're going to make that championship combination. There's no doubt.
I dig it. Coach Mennenga, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, fans. Go Ducks. See you this week.
We're going to get time out. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit with Kelly Graves. Chris Clayton talking women's basketball with KG on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck, and that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
You're listening to Tip Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. My thanks to Mike Mennenga for joining us talking men's basketball. Now women's basketball coming up this weekend. Chris Clayton sat down with head coach Kelly Graves yesterday.
On Tip-Off Tuesday with Oregon head coach Kelly Graves. Kelly, thanks for joining us. We're safe, the roads are clear of the ice, and we get to see you again in studio.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we took a week off, didn't we?
We canceled last week for safety reasons, and now we're back.
Oh, toughen up. I mean, I grew up in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
I have a four-wheel drive truck, so.
Yeah. I do, too. I think it's a lot about the other drivers that I'm usually worried about, you know. He's pointing to Scott. Bill Hader, as we learned, Scott Phillips now is. So coming back from the Bay Area and the games against Stanford and Cal. The Cal game you led all the way until a minute left in the third. Now that you've had time to kind of digest that, what stood out to you?
That hurts. You know, that one hurts. We just lost our composure and forgot how to guard for a quarter, and that was a tough one to swallow, quite frankly. You know, you figured Stanford was going to be a tough game on the road, especially with Tara, you know, chasing history. Those kids were going to be really motivated, plus they're really, really good. And, you know, we just felt like Cal was the one we could get and played, you know, okay, good enough anyway to win the game. And then it just kind of fell apart there in the last quarter. Just some uncharacteristic turnovers. Gosh, we couldn't finish. I mean, and then ultimately, you know, not getting, you know, rebounds. And I don't think I've ever seen a stat line like this. They scored 66 points. 52 of those points came from points off turnovers and second chance points.
Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never had a stat line or seen one like that. So they, outside of those two areas, they only scored 14 points the entire game. So I can't really put my finger on one thing, one reason why. We just weren't locked in where we needed to be and when we needed to be.
Yeah, you held them to 32% from the field, which is usually a winning formula to win a game, but just seemed like the shots in the paint, a lot of missed opportunities there for you.
Yeah, and then they ended up getting 20-plus more shots than we did in the game. I mean, you know, so you can shoot 32% if you're getting that many more shots. Yeah, and then I don't know why, and it wasn't just one or two players. We had 4 or 5 or 6 players just miss, you know, really gimmies at the rim. And, you know, and all those come back to hurt you. And so, you know, that's one that we let get away.
Well, you're shooting better on the positive side from three, still maintaining that and shooting up over 40% again. How have you been able to turn a corner and be so consistent from three the last 4 or 5 games?
Well, I think we're getting a couple in transition, which is a great time to get open threes. We're starting to get the ball in the paint a little bit, kick out, so we're getting some catch-and-shoot threes. We're still not getting enough. You know, we're taking too many difficult shots because we're not creating as much as we need to for others. You know, I think Grace is getting a lot better in creating. I think Philly is, you know, now that she's getting double-teamed almost every game, she's doing a better job of kicking it out against those double teams. And so, yeah, we're just getting some cleaner looks. And if you can get clean looks, then you're bound to make a few more. But that's still an area of weakness that we've got to, you know, concern ourselves with.
Yeah, Grace Van Sluten matched her career high with 6 assists, and Philly Chase had multiple games with 3+ assists. I wanted to ask you about Sofia Bell. She's a player we're going to talk to later on Tip-Off Tuesday. She's, as a freshman, been able to not just fit in, but she's been such a key player for this team defensively right out of high school. How has she been able to fit in and make such a big impact?
Well, I think she leads us in minutes, right? Or
she's up there. I think she's behind Chance Gray, but she's top 4 in the Pac-12. Sofia Bell is in minutes.
Yeah. And she's earning that time because, she's always a threat offensively, with the three-point shot. She hasn't shot it well. She'll be the first one to admit that. Part of that is we're just not getting her enough clean looks. But she's earned her time because she's just such a good defender. She's not going to get the Defensive Player of the Year. However, I'm going to nominate her, and I think she deserves some mention there because, she's not going to win it because she doesn't lead the league in rebounding, steals, or block shots. That's what they tend to give it to. But in terms of just being a solid defender and getting hands on lots of balls and doing the right thing, there are times when she'll make 3 or 4 great defensive efforts in the same possession. And that's why she's playing as much as she is, and she's earned it. And what a great young woman. I mean, a 4-point-plus student. I mean, that was twice you and I's average.
At least.
I didn't even know that was possible in college. She got more than a 4-point.
That's amazing.
Yeah, how do you do that?
I have no idea. Maybe we can ask her.
There you go.
We'll see.
And she's just, just goes about her business every day. Works hard in practice, never takes a drill off. She's just one of those special players that don't come along too often. And, I just wish that, we were having more team success because then I think would really accentuate what she's giving us. So, but good on her. I'm really proud of her and happy that she's a Duck.
We're talking with Oregon head coach Kelly Graves here on Tip-Off Tuesday. This is more of a kind of a lighthearted, just general coaching question.
Lighthearted. We just lost 2 on the weekend.
Let's keep it.
As coaches, we can't get lighthearted, man. Okay, but go ahead. Let's do it. I need it, actually. I need to pick me up.
So sometimes you don't have whistles go your way down the stretch or even beginning of a game. Is there an art to working the officials and trying to get your calls later on in the game?
Yeah, I don't know. I've tried it all which ways. You get on them hard. You lighten them up. You do whatever you can. I've been doing this for so long. I pretty much know most of the referees, and we have a relationship. And so there's always that. There's some give and take, but going in, I know there are some that don't really like me, and quite frankly, there are some I don't like. But then there's a good number of them that I think that I do get along with, and we respect each other. But yeah, I don't know if there's a real art to it. We do evaluations after every game. And it used to be where I was really honest. You'd have a 1 through 5 scale or 1 through 10 scale. And if it was a 3 or below, you had to explain why. So then I would just put 4s on them because I didn't want to have to take the time and explain why I didn't think they were very good.
Right.
And then when I found out that they get those, I get the same referees whether I put them higher, rank them high or low. So the next year I gave every single referee 10s on every game.
1 through 5, and
because
they
I
got
figure,
10s.
well, they're getting the information, so I might as well butter them up. And then, of course, the supervisor of referees said, well, you can't do that. That's not really the case. I said, well, what does it matter? I mean, I get the same ones whether I rank them high or low.
So you're working the officials off the court.
There you go.
That's genius.
So at this point, it's just one of those relationships that you got to have. They're necessary evils.
Right.
And I'm sure they say that about me, too.
Right.
When they get their assignments at the start of the season, oh, geez, I got Oregon. Man, they have to live with that guy.
Yeah. How about this? This is another general hoops question. I love hoops, college, professional, everything. I've tried to embrace analytics more as they've come into the game for fans and for coaches. I'm curious from your perspective, how do you embrace, if any, analytics? Do you use those, or is that something you kind of stay away from?
No, we do. I mean, I'm not diehard analytics guy, but I do believe in them. I think there is some merit to it, especially in the shot selections that you get. And, we're good in some areas, we're not so good in others. But, yeah, I think analytics play a part. But I think those coaches who completely let it consume how they play and all that kind of stuff, I think they're doing a disservice. You're taking away the human part of it, too.
So going back to your season, the schedule you've had has been incredibly difficult. First 7 games, 5 on the road, 4 against ranked teams, and now you roll into you're at home, but another ranked 2 AP top 20 teams in Utah and Colorado. So it's been difficult, and another big one this weekend.
Yeah, and then we have them, I think. Then we have Oregon State, and then we do them again on the road, right?
Yes.
So 4 of the next 5 are against teams that are ranked.
Well, and the new poll, Oregon State's ranked too. They're 25th. So.
There you go. It's, that's life in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And, we didn't get any favors when the schedule came out. We have all the top teams we have to play twice. There are 4 teams you only play once, and so we can't cry about it. We've just got to be better. And I believe every game that we can go out and win. I truly do. And we've shown that we can play with anybody in certain, in given stretches, quarters, halves. We just haven't been able to put it together for 40 minutes. And we don't have a big margin for error. We have to be on point for 40 minutes against the real good teams. That's just where we're at right now. And but I think Friday night we have a great opportunity against Utah. And if we want a chance at postseason, I think we still are in play for that. We've got to now get 3 or 4 of these teams, and we have opportunities too. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Utah with Alyssa Peely, one of the best players in the country. I know you're still in the process of kind of scouting and preparing, but what's the key to success Friday against Utah?
Well, yeah, you've got to somehow contain Peely, and she's so good inside and outside, she can be a tough matchup for us. Around the basket, we're fine because we can challenge her shot, but she can step out on the perimeter. But I think anytime you play Utah, the key is you've just got to limit their three-point game. They're so proficient at the three. And talk about a team that lives by – I shouldn't say they live by analytics. Lynn's a good friend of mine. I've known her since she was a player. She played for my best friend in coaching, and so I've known her for a long time. But they're analytic-driven. I mean, they get to the line, but they just shoot a lot of threes because that is the best shot, catch and shoot threes. I think on the year my – assistant just told me that they've only taken pull-up twos like 7 times the entire year.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, we've just got to limit their threes, and then, with threes, long shots come long rebounds. So we've just got to rebound better. We had turned a corner in that regard, and even against Stanford we rebounded well, but then Cal, it all went to heck. So we've got to continue to focus on that area.
It'll be a great opportunity for fans to watch you in Matthew Knight Arena, where you've been terrific at home this year at 8-1. So looking forward to number 16 Utah and then number 3 Colorado on Sunday. And thanks for your time. It should be fun.
Yeah, should be fun.
Good times coming at Matthew Knight Arena. Appreciate Chris Clayton sitting down with Oregon women's basketball head coach Kelly Graves. It's all brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And when we come back, we're going to chat with Brennan Rigsby. We had some fun talking on the men's side, and then Sofia Bell on the women's side still to come. It's Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Look, we totally get it. You'd rather not be listening to an ad right now. But if you have to, a mini ad is better. Maybe even a Pepsi mini ad. Still all the flavor of the full-size thing, just minier. The way ads should be. Like this one. Pepsi Minis. That's what I like.
Pepsi is proudly distributed by locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Back on Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. He's Brennan Rigsby, folks. Brennan, thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate you for having me.
Brennan came over. So what's the class schedule like on a Tuesday? You had class this morning, right?
Yeah, so had a 9 a.m. ASL. You know, we're trying to work out the hands a little.
Can you do your name in sign language yet?
I can. I'm getting that down. I'm getting
that
it.
Was
I'm
good.
getting
that
it.
Was
I'm getting
good.
it.
He got it.
You know, yeah. So just getting that down, and then had a little tutor for one of my classes at 10, and then now we're here.
Now you're here. Well, yeah, we're sitting down in the morning for everybody that's tuning in live. So you're going to be at practice when this is on. So that means that we have not yet prepped you for the tradition. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time someone's on the show for the first time, we always start with your 2-minute life story.
Ooh.
Okay. It's your 2 minutes.
Okay.
The goal is, because we're competitive, you got to get as close to 2 minutes as possible.
Oh.
You might have saw it on the whiteboard when you walked in. We have a leaderboard.
Oh, okay.
We've kept track of the best ones ever. Minute 59.56 is the closest we've ever
gotten. That's crazy, actually.
There's a lot of accusations that maybe that person cheated. But
they had like a little timer, a little watch.
But I mean, look, if you find a clock in here, then feel free.
I don't see nothing.
You ready?
All right.
You can go over. It's just as close to 2 minutes as possible.
Okay. I think it should be Price is Right rules, though.
See, everyone's. I don't like that. I feel like because then it's like, well, what if someone does 2 minutes and 0.4 or whatever? And then it's like we're not going to let that person be the champion. I don't know.
You're not wrong.
Maybe I can amend the rules, but like I'm looking over there. Casey Rogers from football would be pissed about that because he did 203.86.
Yeah, that would be hurt. That would hurt. That would hurt.
All right, I'm going to start a stopwatch.
All right.
The 2-minute life story of Brennan Rigsby. Go.
All right. So grew up in DeBet, Colorado, real tiny 500-person town. Grew up there basically my whole life, all the way till I moved out to Utah to a boarding school at 16, and was out there for my junior and senior year. And COVID had a big hit for I think a lot of people, but for me, just recruiting wise, didn't get to play that last year. AAU senior year was it was just weird. It's a weird time for everybody. And so ended up going out to a JUCO out in Florida. And in Florida, I had a lot of fun. It was one of my I have still some of the closest friends in my life out in Florida, and we were back there this year, and I think that it was just one of the funnest times. Got to win a national championship out there, so that was great. And I went a little too quick, so I'm trying to drag it out, I'm really trying to drag out right now.
I love that you felt that. You're like, no, I got to keep going.
Yeah, so I'm dragging it. So, that was like 18 years old, and long time ago. And last year was my first year here, and it was a up and down year, a lot of injuries, and so beginning of the year sprained ankle, and then by end of year broken hand. So just out a lot of games, and then had a good off season, and now we're kind of getting into the year, and now we're here.
Minute 33.
I knew it. Okay, as soon as I got to Wasatch, and I was like, oh, dang, I didn't drag out DeBeck long enough. I didn't drag it out. I was like, dang.
Okay, look, here's the thing, though. As you get older, easier to fill 2 minutes.
Exactly.
So if I ask you this question 10 years from now, you're going to be like a 3-minute life story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get that. Tell us a little bit about your family, though. What was it like growing up in Colorado?
It was amazing. It's very family oriented, being in a town of 500 people, not
knew everybody.
Exactly. Everybody. And so, like, I always kind of joke about how I have like 5 different moms, 5 different dads. Like for instance, a lot of family actually came down to the Utah games because it was not at 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
And and I got some like peanut butter bars from a family friend named Amy.
Yes.
Amy. And someone was like, "Oh, your mom gave you that?" And I was like, one of my moms. Like, so I definitely I've been lucky enough to have a bunch of families that I went over to Denver for a while for AAU games and had people out there that would let me live with them for summers. So I've been very lucky enough to have a lot of people to be able to call family.
That's cool. That's cool. I did want to ask you about winning a national championship and then getting a chance to go back to that place as a Duck this year. Like, what were both of those processes like for you?
It was crazy, you know, because practicing there like every single day, and then you
knew where everything was.
Oh yeah, and then you like leave for a couple years, and then you come back. It's kind of surreal to think like, dang, I was in here grinding like a year ago, not knowing where I would be.
Yeah.
And so it's a surreal moment.
That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, I'm going to ask you a little bit of a out of left field question. Okay. So we've discussed on the broadcast, at least I have, you had a very viral dunk in high school. You get asked about this all the time. But then this year, you're shooting well over 40% from three. So here's my question, Brennan. Do you have a better chance to win the dunk contest on the team or the three-point shooting contest on the team?
Ooh, that one's tough because on both sides there's, you know, you have like Jackson, Keyshawn, you know, you got really good shooters, and then on the other side you got Cario. I would say Bams gets up there too. So, you know, both sides you got competition. Ooh, that one's tough. I would like to say both, personally. Personally, I want to personally, like, you know, my confidence says like, oh, I'm getting both.
Yeah, that's the way.
But yeah, like Cario, that's the one. I think I'm getting the shooting more than the dunking because Cario gets up.
Yeah,
he gets up.
So, but I was thinking about this, like going into our conversation, like, you know, there's guys that say they want to be in both of those contests, but you have the kind of game that can do that. So I got to tell you, Coach Mennenga and I were just talking about. Coach goes, "You've got all the tools that people like us wish we had, Brennan." So I mean, have you always been that way? Like, have you always had just that level of athleticism? That's what led you to basketball.
Kinda, like I was really short growing up. Like it was kind of weird. Like, you know, freshman year I was like 5'5", and so I was always kind of short, but I always could like out jump people still. Like I could still go get a rebound over somebody at 5'5". Like, and so I always kind of had it, but like I just never knew if I was gonna get the height or anything. Like my dad's like 6'1", but you know I just didn't know. And then, you know, my sophomore year kind of had a growth spurt, and then I was really starting to throw down, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is fun.
Well, no doubt. I mean, when you have one of those moments, so I can think of a couple in particular where I feel like you've surprised defenders even with the way that you elevate so quickly. Like, you got to tell us what that's like. What's that feeling like when you can just spring that quickly?
It's definitely fun, especially when you catch someone off guard. I actually missed the putback on this guy, and he was like, he turned and said, "You can jump like that?" like you get a lot of reactions like that, so it's pretty funny. Like even on misses, people are like turn and look at you like, "Whoa, what? I didn't know you could do that."
See, that's the reaction we all want, right? I mean, you're getting it in games. What's that conversation like amongst players on the court? Like, how often are you honestly talking to other people while you're playing?
Here and there you get a little, like on free throws everybody talks. If it's either trash or, you know, good talk, you know, because especially for me, being on the West Coast, you know, west side of the America, like, and then playing in the Pac-12, I actually know a lot of the players that we're playing against. And so, you know, before games, after games, you know, you get a little here and there.
Sure.
And then, you know, during the game, if like someone's shooting a free throw, I know I might try to poke at them a little, like, hey. You know, try to.
Whatever gives you a competitive advantage.
Exactly.
Right? Whatever gives you the competitive advantage. So I did want to ask you, too, Brennan, like, you went through that up and down. You mentioned the injuries that you dealt with last year. Like, what was that like? And how nice is it this year to be healthy and playing every week?
Yeah, it's really a blessing, to be honest. You know, like, I never really had any injuries like that. And to go through, it's really hard, you know. And so, luckily, you know, had a good support system with Clay and all the coaches and, you know, and you have people on the team that's been through it too. So, you know, it's good to be able to have those people around you. But it's really nice to be, you know, having a rhythm this year, just ready to keep it going.
Cool. Keys to success this week, big games against the Arizona schools.
Yeah, definitely. Got to defend, rebound, get back in transition. Both teams love to run. And got to one-on-one defend.
Brennan Rigsby, folks. Could talk with you for another 2 hours. You ever want to just take over my job? It's yours.
You're pretty good at it. I don't know if I could get to. I don't know if I could beat you on that.
Nah, you know, give it time. Like, you know, like I said, 2-minute life story. You know, you fill that up. You never know what's going to happen.
I got to get 30 more seconds.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Brennan Rigsby, folks. So we're going to get a timeout. When we come back, a little bit of women's basketball conversation. Sofia Bell joins us next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck, and that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks! Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
You're listening to Tip Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Tip Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota. It's all brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Let's go to Sofia Bell. Chris Clayton talking with an Oregon legacy in Sofia Bell.
Chris Clayton here with you in studio with Sofia Bell. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're a freshman on the Oregon women's basketball team, had a terrific season so far, so this is a great opportunity for fans to get to know you. They know you as a player at this point, but now as a player and a person. How's the transition been for you coming from Portland in high school and now living here and being a Duck?
I mean, the transition was super smooth. I finished high school in June and then got down here a couple weeks later, and it's been great ever since. And so, super smooth transition, and I'm having a lot of fun.
I assume this has been a dream of yours and something you've been preparing yourself for a while now. But has there been anything about the college game or just college life that's surprised you that maybe has been a bit unexpected?
I mean, of course, I've just grew up coming to games, and I've dreamed of being a Duck since I was like 5 years old. So, I mean, the college game is definitely different than high school or club. The physicality, the size, the speed. So, just really adjusting to that in the first few months was a bit of a challenge.
That's so cool to see your dream come true, you wanting to be a Duck for that long. I feel like some people say once they're a Duck, like, oh, yeah, I've always wanted to be a Duck. But you have truly lived that life. What's it like for you being able to put on an Oregon uniform after all the years of dreaming of it?
I mean, it's a dream come true. I started coming to the games. I think I came to my first game here, which was like the last game over in the other arena, and I was like 5 years old. And so,
across the court.
Yep. And so, just to be able to put on the uniform is really special. And it's a dream come true.
So, with that, with your background with Oregon, we have a random connection. I graduated from the University of Oregon in 2017. At my graduation ceremony, who's the keynote speaker? Greg Bell, your dad. He played for the Ducks in the 80s and as a motivational speaker, among many other things as a professional, but he was the commencement speaker. So for my experience, it was really cool, awesome speech and powerful and everything, but that must have been cool for him, too, to come back to his school and be able to speak.
Yep, definitely. I know he was excited. It was a really cool experience. We got to come down through the tunnel over at Matt Knight, and yeah, he obviously did the commencement, so yeah, it was a cool experience for him, and I had fun too.
How much influence did he have on you as not just a person, but also as a basketball player and growing your love for the game?
Yeah, I mean, he introduced me. It's funny, I at first, did not want to play basketball. I wanted to do something different. But, he forced the issue a little bit, and I obviously picked it up. And so, yeah, I mean, he's been coaching me since I was like 6 years old. And yeah, he obviously has the background as an athlete, but also as a student here. And yeah, he's just able to give me a lot of lessons.
What did you want to do outside of basketball? Or I guess still, what do you want to do?
I really like track, and I played a lot of tennis. When I was younger, my mom played tennis at Portland State, and so I picked that up when I was really young and just really liked it. And so, didn't always dream of playing basketball, but then, yeah, before in elementary school, it kind of picked up, and I really started to love the game.
When did you realize you were a little bit better than your friends and thinking, oh, I think I'm pretty good at basketball?
I mean, I had like kind of some natural athletic gifts, and so that definitely helped right away. But I'd say like 7th or 8th grade, I kind of realized I could take it further than just playing for fun. And yeah, that's when I started working really hard and, setting my sights on playing at the next level.
Yeah, I asked Grace Van Sluten that question, and she had a similar answer. She said, also, I was pretty tall, which helped.
Yeah, no, it makes a difference, the size and the speed at that age especially, yeah.
We're talking with Ducks freshman Sofia Bell here on Tip-Off Tuesday. So we talked with Kelly Graves earlier, and I asked him about you, and he had very nice things to say. And one thing he mentioned was your grades, how you had an over a 4.0. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do. Right now.
So how? That's the question.
So over the summer, I think I had maybe 2 A+, and then in the fall term, I got an A+ in like my business class.
Man.
And so I don't know. I think it must be weighted at a 4.3, and then an A is a 4.0, and so it bumped it up a little bit.
That's amazing. So you're transitioning no problem. Yeah, and that's a lot of time to go to practice, be traveling for these games, and manage all your schoolwork. Is there any teammate or maybe a coach or someone that you've leaned on that's helped you make this transition to college?
I mean, we have, so many experienced players, Chance and Grace, have really helped me a lot with the transition. But, Peyton's also a great leader and has helped me too. So, yeah, just looking to my teammates for leadership and to them as leaders has helped. And then the coaching staff has just been great, getting me adjusted and then ready to play at this level.
This weekend, you were able to hit 5 threes over the course of 2 games. But one thing that's really stood out this year is your consistency on defense. At the top of that 2-3 zone, you're top 4 in the Pac-12 in minutes, so Kelly Graves does not like to take you off the floor. Where does that come from, just your tenacity and consistency on defense?
I mean, I've always taken a lot of pride in my defense. It's just a way I know I can impact the game and consistently impact the game, kind of like you said. And so, yeah, it's just kind of a mindset, and it kind of started developing later in high school. My junior and senior year, I realized I could really kind of dictate the game through my defense, and that
was a big deal. Sofia Bell, an Oregon legacy. Her dad, Greg Bell, and she's played a lot of minutes, as Chris was just alluding to. Oregon men's basketball in action, 6 o'clock on Thursday, televised on Pac-12 Network, 5:30 pregame here on the Oregon Sports Network. And then 7 o'clock on Friday, the Oregon women in action against Utah. Thanks to Brennan Rigsby, Mike Mennenga, Sofia Bell, KGC at MKA.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.